Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. This is me, Rhonda B, coming to you from Voices of Mass Discussion. We have Dr. William A. Martin. He is a motivational speaker, a counselor, instructor, and an author. And then his wife, who also was was an English major, she's also an author. So they have more in common than just being married. So, which is a good thing. So they have that common bond. So we will start with you, Mr. Martin, as to you tell us who you are, what it is you do, and how do we benefit.
Well, I'm William Martin. I am Associate Director of Nontraditional Degree Programs at Chicago State University, great Chicago State University. I earned my undergraduate and graduate degrees at Chicago State University. I earned my doctorate at Northern Illinois University. My book is about my life, growing up in Henry Horner homes and moving a lot around Chicagoland and still persevering.
Oh, okay.
It's about the people that I come in contact and how it has changed my life.
So you started in the projects, but you ended up with a doctorate degree.
Exactly, and what I do is I motivate people from my story, my own life story, and the stories of people who come across me doing my counseling sessions and advising and things like that, and my motivational speaking.
Now, were you a product of a single parent?
No.
Oh, you had
Well,
mom and dad?
I had a mom and dad up until a certain age, and then my dad separated from us physically. Well, sort of.
Okay.
I would see my dad often.
He was part of your life? Okay.
Yes, very much a part of my life. He embedded my spirituality.
Okay, good.
Right. He was a very faithful man, and he's part of my story.
Okay.
He's part of my life, and he passed a year ago as of Christmas,
okay.
but he still lives in me.
Okay.
He showed me from his life what God can do,
Okay.
what God is capable of doing, and how a person can change and survive in Chicago.
So you're living proof of the significance of having that man, mentor, and father in your life.
Oh, without a doubt, he was a great example, and my grandfather, and my mother. So
Always mom. We
yeah.
take it for granted with mom.
Well, yeah.
It's news when his dad was there. It's just
Actually, no.
when mom
I
was
disagree. I think dads are really stepping up these days, and that's from my experiences as well. I'm coming across a lot of single parent dads that are doing great things, coming back to school, and coming. I work with a little bit with Jeffrey Levin.
Okay.
A lot of these dads are coming out of schools, and coming out of prison and going to school and starting their own businesses and doing things. So no, I'm gonna stand up for African American men. They are doing some great things.
Oh no, I don't doubt that. But your generation, I'm talking about when we come along. That it's
I'm only
nice
25.
To know. Oh, right. It's nice to know that that you had your dad in the foundation and stuff like that. I have no fight, but that's not my bone.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times the athletes say, "Hi, Mom." Well, I'm saying, "Hi, Dad."
Yeah, right. See, that's
Thank
my
you, Dad.
point, though. That's interesting because that's not. Trust me, I do a lot of interviews. We do hundreds of them,
Yeah.
and you very seldom hear that the dad was there for the foundation. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, because I grew up with a single parent, so I take issue with that Jeffrey Levin commercial about how you're gonna turn out to be nothing if you don't have the dad.
Well,
But I just admire and I like to acknowledge when there was the dad because because
I
life is
agree.
a balance.
Oh yeah, it is
so
definitely,
no.
definitely.
So okay, well, Miss Martin, we will let you say who you are.
I'm Diane Martin. I'm an author and a publisher. I graduated with my master's and my bachelor's degree from Chicago State University.
That you got to meet at Chicago State?
Actually, no. A funny story, but I'll tell you that one later. I'm actually a child of Chicago State University. I've studied under some of the greatest, Gwendolyn Brooks, Dr. Donda West, Kanye's mom, Hakeem Adabuti, and so I've really had a good experience in education from Chicago State University.
So now, is your undergrad or your master's in writing, in English?
Actually, both of them are in professional technical writing.
Oh, okay.
Yes, my minor is in African American literature.
So your degree is in technical writing, and then you
I write fiction, yes. Yeah, I spend a lot of my time in my little fantasy world.
Okay. So, and then you guys are both authors. Now, was that just happenstance, or how did you both end up? Because obviously his writing is a little different from yours.
Yeah.
Because you're reaching out to people.
Well, reaching out and trying to galvanize what paradigm processing is. My book is called Speak Freedom, Speak Power, Speak Wealth, and Speak Freedom.
Okay.
And how to bring that together in your life with a simple model. And I use the example of my experiences talking to people and asking them one simple question. How many times have you been talking to someone and said someone's name and they called you a week later or the next day, or you saw them walking down the street?
Right.
Now 99% of the time they'll say, you know what, that happened to me.
Right.
I talked about James the other day and he called me.
Right.
And so how do you make that physical? So with 99%, the odds are that happening increases. Okay, so what I'm saying with speaking things into existence, how about speaking physical things into existence? How about speaking that business into existence? How about speaking, changing your life into existence just by it actually coming out of your mouth and talking to people and relating to people? And how do you relate to people? How do you get to talk to people? One way is to give.
Okay.
The people I remember are the ones who gave to me freely.
Okay.
Who helped me, because my journey was long and hard.
Okay.
And so, but it's always someone that came and said, you know what, I'm gonna give you a hand.
Okay.
And so, but I had to say it first. Right. I had to ask the question.
Okay.
A lot of times we just don't ask the question, what do you need? And I found that even in my own family. You know, I tell my nieces and nephews, just ask the question first, and don't be afraid of the answer.
Okay. So, have you done research on this, or is your opinion?
No, this is research.
Okay.
This is research. No, I'm an adult educator. Everything that I have to do in education as an educated person, we have to do research, and then we have to reference. I quote Einstein. I quote the Bible. I quote Newton. These things that the law of gravity. So it's not by happenstance that we're on this show.
No, that's what I meant.
That's right. It's always a connection, and people in the audience that my wife knows.
Yeah, that's a small world.
It is.
Yeah, it's a small world. That's been happening all day. Every group that came in, it's like they were building on each other. Everybody knew somebody, and the room was full, and it's like everybody knew each other in some kind of way, either directly or indirectly. But my question to you, the reason why I said it was research or an opinion, is. Even though research is still an opinion, but what's the difference between speaking it and thinking it?
Well, one, you first you visualize it, and this has been throughout my life. My wife and I. When I met my wife, that wasn't an accident. I wanted someone just like her, and she came into my life because I thought about it first, and I had these experiences, and there she was. But the fact is, I had to accept the gift. A lot of times we don't even accept the gift when they walk past you. My wife almost walked past me. But remember,
you're trying to run.
I stopped her. No, she was. I stopped her anyway.
She had already got the memo, so she said, "Let me."
So everything. Even the businesses we've started and things we've started, the non-for-profit that we have, those things were thought about, it was visualized, but then we spoke it into existence. And then we said, well, let's get rid of some things that stop most people. What stops most people? And that's time and money. How many times you've heard people say, I don't have the time, or I don't have the money?
Right.
Well, you eliminate those things by asking the question, how can I make the time, and how can I find the money?
Right. Okay, so
visualizing it first and then speaking it into existence.
Okay, so now you write totally, that's sort of interesting. He's all in there visualizing, and you visualize all right. So tell me, how did you get your genre going?
Well, actually, it's really along the same path. I tell people this all the time. I say, you know what, my books are spiritual in nature, and I know, I tell people this, I write adult fiction, and because I truly believe that you know, you may find scripture, you're going to find that, you know, those sayings that grandmama used to say, the things that mama used to say, that in a sense sort of put us on that path in the direction where we're supposed to be going. But unfortunately, life has its own, you know, direction. It takes you into all these different places. So I tell people all the time, I said, my books are spiritual in nature. I said, but we're fighting a different type of war today. And because of that, we have to wear a different type of armor. Yeah, I can write books to say, kumbaya, let's hold hands and let's fall to our knees and pray. But the reality of it is that we're dealing with different things now. You know, the enemy presents himself in different ways. You know, so I talk to adults in a way that adults will receive it. So, you know, sometimes the language is hard and the storyline is difficult to take in, but at the end, you know, there's a lesson to be learned.
Do your children read your book?
I won't let them read my books.
Okay, but your children read your book.
Yeah.
Right.
But see, you know why? Because I'm a mother first.
Right,
and
right.
so I don't sell my my books to children either.
Okay.
But it's interesting because just recently a principal contacted me. A mother brought Never What It Seems Part 1.
Okay.
And actually her and her son, they came to a book signing that we were at, and I autographed this book. And the principal contacted me and she was like, you know, Diane, the most interesting thing happened. And I said, what was that? And she said, well, we were having a Black History program at our school. And we actually had all of the kids get up and, you know, talk about somebody who was, you know, who's laid this foundation, this history for us. And, you know, we had kids that went up there and they talked about Dr. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. And she said, I was sitting in this audience and this young man walked up on the stage with your book in his hand. And I said, really? And she was like, and he did a presentation on you and your book. And the reason why is because even though there is language in this book, the story that he walked away from, you know, with was no matter where you come from, you could rise above your circumstance. You just have to believe in yourself. And so he was so touched by that he's actually read every last one of my books, which is really interesting because he, you know, he's around 13, 14 now. Okay. But the mother felt that, you know, if he's gotten that from that story, you know, he needs to read the other ones. And so she reads them first, and then she gives them to him. Okay. You know, so yes.
So now, by you guys having different platforms, do you market your stuff together, or how do you guys go out and?
We do everything together.
Yeah, you do everything together.
This is my best friend.
Yeah, okay.
My hubby is my best friend.
Okay. Yeah. So now you have two. Tell us, now which one is first?
She has 4.
I know she has 4. I'm talking about you.
No, that's me.
That's still you.
All these are hers.
Oh, that's why she up here. You got that one.
Right there down there. That's right. I'm working on another one.
You got that one little book down there. Okay.
I can tell you a little bit about
it. Okay, so this here is, this is still also you, Fallen Angel.
Yes, Fallen Angel.
Okay, so I like this cover.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Then I thought that was his picture.
Well, actually, he looks like our second son, and the reason why is because Fallen Angel is the story of Israel.
Okay.
Israel went to Iraq right after 9/11, and although he's physically left the war, he's brought part of that war back with him.
Right, okay.
So he just wants to be left alone to deal with his demons, but the women love him.
Okay.
You know, and they want to get to know him.
Right.
See, there's a price you're going to have to pay for that.
Okay.
And the reason why his story is so important is because it touches on that one aspect of, you know, this whole thing with the war that we're not really talking about it, which is PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome.
Okay.
And what happens in Israel's world is different from what happens in his concept of reality is so completely different. Okay. And it's really interesting because right 5 days before we released this book, I lost my niece to the war.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Was that the one in Robin?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And I lost my niece to the war. So this, in a sense, is my tribute to soldiers, but it's a thrill and a mystery as well. So again, you take that journey of someone who's gone to a war and come back, and then, you know, there's a dramatic ending.
Okay, cool. Now, if your husband and I, tell us a little bit. Now, you say you do you work with the prison reentry, or just or do you work with them while they're in prison? When do you make the contact?
When I counsel.
Okay.
A lot of, like I said, a lot of our
So they're out there.
They're out, and the difficult times reestablishing those relationships with their family, housing, getting with. I've helped ex-offenders find housing, mode of transportation.
Now, is that part of your job, or is this something your outreach?
No, this is outreach.
This is outreach.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is definitely outreach. This is what I do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's good. So so now you were saying that you encounter a lot. So are you finding, are there spirits? Why do you what have you experienced is the reason why there's such a large prison population? Is their spirits broken, or is it that they don't respect the rules, the laws, or they don't think it applies to them?
No, when you are dealing with kings and people who have free will and want to be the best they can be, and certain things are, it's a mindset. That's why I want to get in the schools from the beginning and show them the power of giving back. You understand? And the power of, it should be a whole class on finding out which vision a person has. When I met my wife, Diane, I read her first book.
Oh, okay.
And
you had already started writing.
Well, that's a long story.
Okay.
I'm going to tell part of it.
Okay.
I would go to work, and when I came home, she would give me a chapter.
Okay.
It had gotten so bad, I could not wait to read the next chapter.
Okay.
And I found her gift and her vision, and she stopped.
Oh.
And she stopped.
Okay.
We had some, marriage things that just happened.
Children.
These things called kids.
But in my mind,
Life.
Right. Okay.
But in my mind, I wanted to get her back to that. So I started working in Chicago State, and I started back to school.
Okay.
And I called her and told her to quit her job and go to school with me.
Oh, okay.
So and we both went to school. We had another child in the interim, and finally I finished my degree. She finished hers. I finished my master's. She finished her master's.
Okay.
And she started reading books. And I found that she was very smart. I mean, this is a smart woman, and working for someone was not in her. I can see that. She's an independent thinker, and I embrace that. So I told her to quit her job again. She was working for a company, and I said, quit your job and just write.
Okay.
And she's been writing ever since, and only
He's
because.
a keeper.
Yeah.
Only because
I don't take no well. He realized that. No, I don't do no well.
So, and that book, the book that I've written, is on that type of, story. How believing and having true faith. I'm talking about the type of faith where a woman would leave an abusive relationship, get in the car, and this is part of the speaking engagement I've done. I asked the question, what have you done so powerful? And sometimes I wouldn't get an answer of what people have done. They don't even know how powerful they are.
Right.
So I asked the question, and one lady stood up with this one motivational thing I was doing, and she said, I left my husband, filled up the car, put the kids in, packed up, and just drove until I ran out of gas. She ended up starting her own business. She's doing very well. Okay. That was true faith. The faith to go out and do what you have to do to live. You only get one life. Take that risk in faith.
Right.
And look, there's not one millionaire or billionaire that hasn't stepped out on faith and probably failed 10 times. But that one time.
Right.
And plus they were living their life that made them feel good about themselves.
Right.
Imagine that. Yeah. Basketball players are, they'll do it for free.
Right.
Pro basketball players, they'll do it for free.
Right.
But it's in their contracts that you can't do it for free.
Right.
You can't play on the court. That's a joy. That's a life of joy.
Right.
That's saying, you got to stop me from playing basketball.
Right.
When you go to work and people tell you to stop working, you're working too much. You're working too hard. Because, hey, I enjoy my job.
Okay.
So that's what I'm trying. And she loves what she does. Matter of fact, I'm trying to squeeze in some time. She's writing 2 more books.
Okay, go good for her. Now, did you just finish your book, though, during the holiday?
I'm finishing another book.
Okay.
Excellent.
Okay.
This book is on philanthropy.
Okay.
I would like to also get into schools, K through 12, understanding what it means to give back. Not just motivation and finding the vision, how to speak these things into existence. What do you do after it exists? Okay. Our job on this planet is to give back to another person. Okay. And a lot of times, I give it free. And my wife, I teach people how to start their own businesses.
Okay.
And I've done this for ex-offenders because I want to circumvent, some things with that stop them and can't get a job. Well, start your own business. What was your vision? What you did before that? Because some of these guys were millionaires, and they just have to focus. And one thing that I have to say, you have to that I try to show them is the power of religion, the power of God. What got them through. in the first
So
place.
now, where do you encounter the prisoners, though? Where do they come to the school, or you go to the prison?
No, I haven't been to the prisons.
Okay.
No, I encountered them.
Did that rob you?
No, no.
But you know what? The reality of it is that we live in a system that works against them. They can't vote. You know.
But that's not true. In Illinois, you can vote, whether you're a prison record or not. In Illinois, she's the expert.
Really?
In Illinois.
Okay, so now they can vote. Okay, but
They've
at one
always could.
point, I mean, it gets to the point where they can't get jobs. When you live in a system where, I mean, it's like, okay, if I get out and I'm trying to, get back on the right path, and then you deny me employment because of my past, I'm trying to change my life. I'm trying to do better.
Okay. We're not going to debate that.
Okay.
Because I don't agree with that. Because if you wasn't in prison, then you were in prison because you obviously were not working and employed and all that stuff. So what came first, the chicken or the egg?
It's a vicious cycle.
We're going to talk about something else.
Okay.
Because that's her and I debate.
Okay.
She is the prisoner guru. That's her daughter, she'll tell you.
What's her name?
Maureen Forte.
Maureen Forte.
Yeah, so she does the expungement workshops.
Excellent.
Yeah,
We need to.
She does the expungement workshop, helping them the reentry program. See, because her she's on the radio, so she's always reaching out, trying to educate them and motivate them that just because you had a checkered past, there's nothing to do with tomorrow.
Amen.
So she
That's
takes
right.
it totally. We haven't come to an understanding as to how they got the checkered past, but she just eliminates that part because she wants to encourage them that despite the checkered past,
Yes, don't give up.
right, you need to make amends for tomorrow.
Exactly.
And so, I'm telling you, she's a diehard with it. All with Farrakhan, and she just,
I'm with her.
she's a
History is something.
criminal-aholic. So I know for a fact that they could vote here in Illinois because she does voter registration, educating them on that.
Okay,
Don't
good,
let
good.
people who don't know tell you, because that's why you're in here, because you talk to the wrong people.
Exactly.
So
Okay, good.
but anyway, she and I debated down on the radio so much.
Can I say, there's a motto in my book called, part of it is reflection. It's okay to reflect on the past, but you live in the future. You see the future.
That's a good way to put it.
Right, you reflect on it and you learn from it.
Right.
And and the next part is called the 4R model.
Right.
Reflection, you reflect on the past, know who you are, create a vision from what God gave you, the gifts and we all have them,
Right.
the gift that God gave. And then it's reciprocal learning. Now you start to speak to people about it and we learn from each other.
Right.
And then there's research. What I can't learn from her, then I do my own research.
Right.
And finally, responsibility.
Right.
Responsibility to the community.
Right. Yeah.
After you learn it, you went through it, it's your responsibility to give it back.
To give it back. I like that. Because, 'cause that's a beautiful part if we can ever find out, not so much how you got there, but how do you reach back to keep others from going
Exactly.
there and to grow from
Exactly.
the fact that you were there. Because that's not the end all and the be all that you were there.
Exactly.
Even though that, I'm just saying this because that's her, because criminals are criminals to me. But she will stand up and fight to the death that if they went to jail and did their time, don't hold that against them. You would think she went, and she didn't even go to jail. But she is an advocate of that. So now you tell us a little bit. Okay, now we know you're an author, so you have all these books out here. Tell us something that helped other people who have that passion, because they're not going to have that Mr. Martin sitting there saying, "Don't worry about the paycheck, I got this."
Yeah. Well, actually, you know what? Everybody's journey is so completely different, and it's easy for someone who's done it or trying to do it to tell someone else to do it. If your mind is not in that same place, then it's, I tell people this all the time. You can't really direct an individual unless they're in that place themselves. The thing that works for me is that I have an overactive imagination. My novels are my
I agree
dreams.
with that one.
Exactly. my novels are my dreams. So I'm constantly dreaming.
Okay.
Even my characters are so real. At times I call them my alter egos. That even now when I'm sitting here, as you guys were speaking back and forth, I'm writing in my head. So what's easy for me may not be that easy for someone else. Like I can do 300 pages in a week. I can sit down. But see, because of what he does, it allows me, it affords me that ability to sit and just imagine all day long, you know. And so, and I live in that little world, and it's so funny because I'm so comfortable in that world. You know, before I know it, my whole day is gone, and you know, and I'm just still stuck in that fantasy world. So, you know.
And now, where are you trying to go from here? Because you're already the author because that's how your story began. But then you're a publisher because you guys got together and decided to do a business.
Yes, self-publishing.
Okay. So then now where do you see yourself going? Now we got him. He's a motivator, and he's trying to help people get from point A to point B. Is that pretty much?
Yeah.
I'm just giving back.
Okay, you're giving back.
I'm giving back, and whatever I have, my experiences, my what I've learned over the years, how to start a business, how to start a non-for-profit, all these things.
So you do workshops or individual?
I do workshops and individual.
Okay, that's good. People need to know that.
Well, whatever you need.
And I know I spoke with you, and you had said that you were helping critique someone's resume. Now, was that something you were doing, or do you do that?
Actually, I just do it. You know, just it's the same way with self-publishing. You know, if someone asks me, you know, how did you get a book out? I mean, we offer that information for free, whereas other individuals try to make $1 off of it. But I again, it goes back to what he said: it's our responsibility. I mean, it's passing the torch. You know, I've learned it, I've done it. You know, here's what I've done. I'm not going to give you my mistakes. I'm gonna let you know what got me to this point. And so we just pass the torch. It's just what we do.
Okay, so that's not anything organized where you do a workshop and say, well, I'll teach you how to write an effective resume. No. Somebody just say, well, Diane, can you please check my resume for errors? You're like, oh, sure. I mean, then you take on their project.
Yeah, I do.
But that's nice, though.
Thank you.
That goes along with his philosophy of giving back.
Giving back, and we get so much.
Yeah, so that's good, though. I like that. Because most of us have our skills and our talent, and so we try to hold them, instead of sharing them.
Exactly.
Because it's going to still be your skill and your talent, whether you sell it or give it away.
Exactly. Exactly.
So now, as we come to a conclusion here, because I enjoy talking to you.
Thank you.
You guys seem like so opposite to me, but
we are. We are.
But it's working. Yeah. So I want you to give our audience, first of all, a contact number and a summation of what it is that you have to offer self and society.
Well, let me take a moment. I want to do a little pubbing. We have an event coming up February 20th. It is called You Are Not Alone, where we've invited some incredible people to come out. Some people who've made some changes in their community, you being one of them as well. And we have several celebrities on the itinerary. We have Jeffrey M. Levin, who's a Father's Rights. We have Johnny Kulas Starks, WVON Radio. We have Cornelius Flowers from The Messengers, and then you have myself, my husband. We have Michelle Moore, who's about she's an advocate against child abuse and victim abuse. And so we have all of these incredible people. We have some talent, some entertainment lined up as well. And we're just going to be giving back to the community. Let me say,
I see you have Maureen's favorite jazz artist here, Miss Loretta Lee.
Yes, we have Loretta Lee, who's going to be doing a Billie Holiday impersonation. She's going to be doing God Bless Your Child. And then we have Lady Rich. And so, again, this is us, giving back to the community.
Black History Month.
Yes, and we're just giving back to the community.
It's free event.
And everyone knows this already, but I'm still intrigued with it. They're going to host their event at the Carter Wilson Library because she's done book signings there before. And Carter Wilson, now tell me this again, he started Black History Week.
Yes, he did.
Okay, and then how did it get stressed to him up?
Actually, I don't know how it got stressed to him up. I really don't. I know that he's the father of Black history, but it's we're blessed that we're going to be hosting the event there, but I don't know if anyone knows, but he's actually the founder and the writer of The Miseducation of the Negro.
Okay. Did you know that?
Yes, and one of his philosophies is that when he talks about the conditioning of the African American, and what he says is that you don't have to teach a black man to go to the back door because he knows how to do that automatically. And even if there isn't one, he would build one. And so what we try to do is that we try to recondition. We try to get people to think outside of the box. And Tupac said it best when he said that because you're in the ghetto doesn't mean you can't grow. If you can see it, then you can also achieve it. And that's our philosophy.
And I think it's a good message. I really think it's a good message. And I want to thank you guys for your time.